Okay, so we have the thumb showing the value that's been set, but we still can't drag the thumb to change the value, which is what we want from a slider. So let's do that now. So in order to do this, we could try to do it in the preview, but I think it makes more sense to do it in the simulator. So we're going to have to go to our content view, and instead of having this random text here, we're going to have to have our double-headed slider there, which is going to mean that we need a binding, and we'll make it a state var. Yeah, still just call it value, and we'll make it equal to 0.3. Okay, value. All right, and we'll run this thing, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we can drag the top one. We can't drag the bottom one. This is our iOS slider. This is the one that we're trying to create. So that's what we need to do. It's going right to the edge there, which we don't really want. So let's fix that. Let's add some padding. And let's actually show the value here. Put in a text with value. Okay, things are in set. If we drag the iOS slider, not the thumb for our slider moves, but if we try to drag our thumb, we get nowhere. Oh, let's play with this a little bit more, and we'll make it the large title. All right, now back to the double-headed slider. We need to drag this thumb. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to add a gesture, and it's going to be a drag gesture. And it's going to take these two values. Minimum distance is how far does the user have to move his finger before the drag starts to be recognized. We're going to say 0. As soon as somebody puts their finger on the thumb and starts moving it, she starts changing the value. That's what we want. The other thing, coordinate space, this is more interesting. What it's saying is, where do you want the origin to be? And what do you want the scale to be in the way the drag is reported to you? Now, in our case, we're only interested in drags within our view, not outside. So we want to look at the local coordinate space. There are times that you might want to look at the global, but that would be if you wanted to, say, move a view around within its container or something like that. And we don't want to do that here. So just local will do. Now, in this drag gesture, we need to respond to the unchanged message. And it takes this drag gesture.value. Let's see if we can find out what that is. If we jump to definition for drag gesture, we just get that. Well, let's open up drag gesture. So here's drag gesture, and it has this value thing here, and it has a time and a location, and a start location, and translation. Location is what we want. We want to know where is the drag at the time that the unchanged closure is being called. So we'll rename this, we'll just call it value. Okay, and we'll say let position equals value dot location. And let's print that, and let's just look at what that does. So when I start dragging, I move my cursor, and the location of the drag appears in the console. And notice that right about there is 0 as far as we're concerned, because the drag gesture is reporting the drag in local coordinates, which is awesome. So that's how we're going to change the value here. And by changing the value, we'll move the thumb, because the thumb appears where the value is. So we could put that in here, but remember how before we end up writing this private func horizontal value because we realized that over time the calculations get more complex? Well, this calculation is going to get more complex. As soon as we have something other than 0 to 1, things are going to change, and we want to have 2 thumbs eventually, so that's going to cause issues. So let's just do it right now. Let's just write this function down here, and we'll call it value for position, which takes a CG point, given a geometry, which is a geometry proxy, and we return a double. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take the, right now we're just looking at 0 to 1. So we're going to go position.x divided by geometry.size.width. And we're going to convert that to a double. And so up here, we're going to say self.value equals self.value for position given geometry. Let's test it out. So we grab the thumb, we start dragging, and the thumb moves and the value changes, which is awesome. Now, if we go past the right edge, we get something bigger than 1, which we don't want. So let's fix that. We want to clamp that value. So let's say min of that calculation, or 1. You can't have a value for position that goes above 1. Makes sense? Try it again. We stop at 1. That's exactly what we wanted. All right, now if we go down below 0, we get that same issue. So let's clamp below 0. This time, we don't want a value smaller than 0, so we're going to say max of that min for 0. Test it again. And all right. We have almost reinvented the iOS slider. Let's get rid of that print thing there. And, I think we're happy with